welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We have a lot to get into, but before we dive into the news, I want to remind you guys that we are doing Fan or Foe tomorrow during the live show. So you guys know that's where we take your comments from the live show throughout the week, and we respond to them, whether you're being a troll, you're complimenting us, whatever it is. We will answer the questions, the comments, the clapbacks, everything that you guys have to say, and we will be designating a new fan of the week. So if you want to get involved in the action, make sure you write something compelling, interesting, or maybe especially hateful in the chat, and then we'll talk to you guys about it in Fan or Foe tomorrow. Just as an FYI, we do appreciate the nice comments more than the mean ones. We are going to be diving right into some news about Russell Westbrook. He tossed the ball out of bounds, and there were a lot of mixed reactions to it. And then Odell Beckham Jr. posted a kind of a cryptic tweet, and we're going to be breaking that down in just a second. Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
All right, Jackie. So are there any specific comments that you would like people or anything that you would like to discuss in particular in Fan or Foe tomorrow? I just really want to drill it into everybody that we are doing Fan or Foe. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, Jackie, this is your chance to let everybody know.
You guys know I am currently obsessed with this Deshaun Watson situation. So if you have, especially, I want to hear from the ladies because I think the guys will probably get it, but I want to hear from the ladies if you are really thinking that this is valid, that what we're seeing, especially after what we're not going to do today. I promise you guys an update. I've got that for you. So we're going to talk about that. So I definitely want to hear what you guys are thinking about Deshaun Watson. I also want to hear what you think is going to happen if you're a part of Who Dat Nation. What do the Saints look like without Drew Brees? I want to hear from you guys about that too.
Ooh, yes, that's a really good question. And I'm sure if we look back at the chat from when we did talk about his retirement, there might be some thoughtful answers in there. But in the meantime, make sure all of you guys let us know what you think about Drew Brees and Deshaun Watson. I am really looking forward to Jackie's update and what we're not going to do because it's kind of a wild story. And Jackie, I've seen you posting about it on your social media. So there is a lot to get into there. Personally, what I would like to know is what everybody thinks about this Russell Westbrook moment that I'm going to be getting into right now in Need to Know News. So let's just dive into it. So Russell tossed the ball out because nobody was open to get it. And we're just going to roll that clip for you right now. So Leo, can you throw that up there for us?
Whiteside protecting the hoop. Westbrook to inbound. No more timeouts remaining. Westbrook throws it away.
Let's wait for it.
It's going to be Sacramento ball.
So a lot of people looked at that moment, and I looked at the reactions on Twitter, and it was mixed. So there was one tweet that I saw that says, "He is just getting worse and worse. It's sad to see." Another person said, "His team isn't thinking. Good for him for making a point. He should have called a timeout and let them have it." So he's saying that Russell was trying to make a point there. There's another tweet that Leo's going to put up that says, "Love how Russell gets slandered for this, even though he carried in the clutch while Beal missed every shot and got the game winner drained in his face." People were also questioning if he really was trying to throw it out of bounds. This tweet says, "Bro literally threw it out of bounds away from everyone." And then somebody else responded to this tweet saying, "No, you'll look closely. You'll see he's passing it." The play was set up for that guy to flare to the opposite wing where he was wide open. That's why Russ threw it ahead of him, but that guy seemed to not know what was going on. LMAO. So, Jackie, what is your takeaway from this moment? Was Russell trying to pass it? Was he trying to prove a point? Where do you stand?
I didn't see that last tweet. So Leo, can I get you to run it one more time? Because I want to see if he was really trying to pass it to Rui, because I didn't see him over there. So I didn't think that's actually what he was doing. So if I'm wrong, I don't want to criticize that.
Whiteside protecting the hoop. Westbrook to inbound. No more timeouts remaining. Westbrook throws it away.
Yeah, no. I don't think that person is right. I just wanted to make sure because I was like, if he's over there and I missed it. So no. So this, to me, I agree that he should have called a timeout. it's either he thought what that last user thought, like, oh, he's going to see the ball coming and he's going to run to it. That would have been almost like, a wide receiver kind of move. I don't think that that's really what he was thinking. That was just a weird situation. And they only lost that game by 3 points. So they could have actually at least tied it up. Yeah, they could have tied it up with just a 2-point shot. So I don't know what he was thinking in this moment. I don't know if it was he should make a point. I don't know if he thought maybe Rui was going to run over there and he didn't. But it looks terrible. It looks like he just gave up. He was pissed off and was just like, screw it, this game is over. Let me throw it out of bounds. Will says that he doesn't think that they had a timeout. And if that's the truth, then that makes sense. But I was disappointed at everything I saw on this play. I was disappointed in seeing Russell throw it out. I was disappointed in not seeing any movement. Nobody was moving around trying to get open to make sure that they were right under the basket. No, everyone was just kind of standing there. And I can see that pissing Russell off. I could see him being like, okay, if y'all ain't even going to try to get under the basket so we can actually win this game, then screw it, I'm just going to throw it out to end the game. But that's still horrible. I still think you take the time, you try to get, maybe the light bulb will go off in someone's head and they'll move to where they're supposed to be. I just don't. Oh, I like that. Robert Anderson says, or throw the ball off the back of the defender and inbound it to himself. We've seen that so many times. And if that's what you got to do, you have 7 seconds left. You have a little bit of time to at least think this through. Like Robert said, throw it off the back of the defender, get it back to yourself. And then by that time, the light bulb will go off for the rest of your teammates. Guys will rotate and then they'll start getting open. But the lack of movement from his teammates, him just giving up and throwing it out of bounds, nothing went well on this play. Russ isn't the only person at fault here. This was just terrible all the way around.
Right. No, I agree with you for sure. The pass from Russell definitely it didn't look right, but then also, yeah, you can see that there's no hustle in his teammates at all. They were just standing there. Why would they do that? It looked like no one had communicated the pass, or, nobody realized who needed to be there. And it kind of makes me wonder, this is obviously just like a lack of communication issue, a chemistry issue, frustrations that are boiling over. Do you think that seeing a moment like this is indicative of what's going wrong with the Washington Wizards, or was this just a singular, particular moment that we saw that looked like a mess, but it's not really representative of how things are going over there?
No, I think it's definitely representative of how things are going over there because, like I said, from everybody on that floor was to blame. And the thing that I think sometimes you have to do when you're in a situation like the Wizards are, sometimes you just have to go back to basics. Sometimes you just gotta, kind of forget all the hoopla and everybody's supposed to know what you got to just have plays. When I was playing ball, we had plays. You knew exactly. Somebody would put their hand up in the air with a number on it or a little, hand motion, and we would know what play we were supposed to run, and everybody knew where they were supposed to be. And if where they were didn't work, we had a plan B. And if y'all are just going to stand there, if just standing there while Russ is out of bounds is your go-to, I think maybe it's time to go to just basic high school basketball and say, okay, when Russ is out of bounds, this is the play we're going to do here. Because I can't explain why nobody was doing anything. It was almost like if you didn't know better and you were watching that, you would have thought your screen glitched and everyone was frozen because no one was moving. It just doesn't make sense. So if Russell is frustrated in that situation, that being said, you still have to try to give your team the best chance to win. And throwing the ball away in that moment, frustration or no, looking at the situation the same way I'm looking at it, like, what the hell are y'all doing? All that aside, you still have to try to give your team the best opportunity to win. And throwing out of bounds at that moment wasn't it. And you didn't even give them time for the light bulb to go off. I 100% agree. It should have went off way before that. But if it didn't, then you do what Robert said and you just inbound to throw it off the defender, although the defender didn't have his back to him. So that would have been a little bit harder. But figure something out. At least look like you're trying to make an effort, because regardless of what everyone else is doing on the court, you the guy that threw the ball away. So now you're the one that's going to get all that scrutiny. You know what I mean? But his teammates really need to step up. That was just a poor display on the floor. Very disappointing to see.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was very, very weird. And people in the chat seem to agree with us. Reggie said, man, Russ is tripping. Someone said he's petty for that. Kevin said, Russ be wild and out. So clearly it was a bizarre moment for everybody. There was one person in the chat that said something like, why are you guys always like dragging Russ? And I actually don't think we are. We love Russ over here. I feel like we always are wanting to see him do the best and be the best. And it was just this moment that was kind of bizarre. There was another chat in here that I wanted to read. Christian said, these are professionals and they should know the plays by now and know what to do in every second. So Jackie, do you agree with that statement? Is there no room for a fumble?
No, see, the thing is they don't run plays. They don't. Like when you watch the NBA, it's literally a bunch of guys running around just kind of, we rarely see, occasionally I'll see Dame call out a play and guys kind of know what they're doing, but we rarely see like full on plays being ran in the NBA. It's not a thing. That's why, like Robert Anderson said, he said they don't really run plays like they should. That's why watching the WNBA is more fundamentally sound basketball, and it's true because those ladies know. You'll see the point guard come down the court and she'll call out the play, and people know what that means. Of course, you have to improvise outside of that because whatever play you have ready to go doesn't always mean that that's going to be what happens. But the reality of it is you're not in Venice playing street ball. Y'all know you're supposed to get open so the ball can be inbound to you. You standing there, just watch this. You rocking the wrong way. Like, what is that? What is that? Nothing. Who's moving? Raise your hand if you're moving. He started to move. One guy started to move, but way too late.
Yeah.
It's way too late. He started to set a screen. Like, what is this? Why are you trying to set a screen right now? I'm trying to inbound the ball. Why are you setting a screen right now? I don't understand. I don't understand what happened here. And this is definitely a conversation. Again, I understand why Russell was pissed off because I would have seen that guy try to set a screen and that would have made me lost. I would have lost it. Like, why are you setting a screen? I'm trying to inbound the ball. Get open, So that whole thing, that whole transition on the court right there was weird. There's definitely some sort of breakdown. And because of that breakdown, you literally can blame everybody. You can blame the assistant coach, the head coach, the guys on the floor, Russell. You can blame everybody at this point because I don't know what was going on. I would love for Russell to sit down and say, we were supposed to run this play. I called this play. Nobody moved. And I was just over it at that point. Again, that's still not what you want him to do, but at least we would understand that there was a plan in place that just didn't go right because this just doesn't look like there's a plan in place. This does not look like a bunch of guys who are on the court, looked up at the score and realized, oh, if we get this possession right, we can possibly win this game. Nobody had a sense of urgency to try to win this game. And I don't know if that's because they know how bad they suck and they're like, screw it, it doesn't matter. Winning a game now doesn't mean anything. But like I said before, how you finish this season is going to be very important into how you go into next season. Yes, you're not going to be worth anything, but if you guys can't get it together and figure out how to play together now, then all of y'all are expendable next season. Nobody's proven that they're here to try to win, except for Bradley Beal and Russell too, don't get me wrong. But aside from that, all of you guys are expendable because you don't have a sense of urgency to win every single game, and that bothers me. I don't know if it bothers anybody else, but it bothers me.
It bothers me too. I feel like even if you're the worst team in the NBA, you still have to have that desire and that motivation to win. And here it just seemed like a breakdown in, maybe obviously a breakdown in communication, but also just like a lack of motivation and a lack of urgency, Jackie. So you said it totally right. I'm with you on that. It was just a bizarre situation, and yes, Russ should not have handled it like that, but it also kind of makes me feel bad for him because I want to see him on a team that's doing well and that, works like a well-oiled machine, and he's not getting that over there. So he has every right to be frustrated.
Yeah, I want to, Kevin Lang said he used to play the point guard position, so I love what he had to say. He said, nah, he didn't throw it away. They should be looking out wide open. Yes, okay, they should be, but they were not. And this is what I think everybody needs to kind of focus on. What the Wizards should be doing versus what they are doing is not. There's a huge disconnect there. And again, I don't really care what their record is at the end of the season. I don't. I just care how they look if they see the mindset shift, if you see them going from, okay, yeah, we suck to, yeah, but we don't want to suck forever, let's try to figure out how to get it together, then I'll be very proud of how they end up. But I just don't see that. So I don't know what's going on with them right now, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. So you guys let us know what you you guys are already letting us know, but maybe if anybody said anything super interesting, we'll talk about it also in Fan or Foe tomorrow. But in the meantime, let's move into this Odell Beckham Jr. news, okay? Because he tweeted something that sent the NFL world into a frenzy. And I feel like you got to know what you're doing. So he tweeted second act. You know, it's very simple. People could read into it. They could ignore it, whatever. But of course, we live in a society where everybody likes to just really try and dig deep into every message that every public figure ever puts out there. And in this case, people were interpreting this to mean that he was going to go back to New York and have a Giants reunion. So Twitter was on fire with people saying things like this. He's coming back to New York. That's what he means. This guy says, time to log back in, Odell, log back in, baby. I didn't want to read that tweet out loud, but I had to. So people were very, very excited to see that. But then apparently Kim Jones Sports said on NFL Network that she actually texted Odell and asked him about this tweet. And he said he's just talking about coming back strong from his ACL injury. So let's discuss this. First of all, Jackie, do you buy that that's what he was referring to, or do you think that he is potentially hinting at going back to the Giants?
No, when I saw it, I didn't have the reaction everyone else did. I immediately thought he was talking about coming back from this injury again, because, you know, it's not the first time that he's had this situation where he's had to come back from an injury. And we just saw him post that video where we all kind of cringed of him on that treadmill, you know, ramping up to try to come back, and we all were like, oh, you know, he doesn't look that good. And he did get a lot of criticism from that. People were like, oh, I don't know if he's going to be explosive as he was. I don't know if he's going to be the same Odell as he was. We've questioned that as well. So I think in his mind, he's like, okay, this is my second act. I'm coming back from this injury, you know, and injuries go in phases. You know, phase one is probably depression, to be honest with you. If you've ever had an injury, you know how that goes. Phase one is depression. You're sad, like, oh my God, I can't play. And then you get into that mindset of, okay, I'm coming back. So I immediately thought he was talking about coming back and getting back on the field. I don't know if he even had a thought process of where that might be. I think there's some, I don't think Odell is not reading some of the writing on the wall, some of the he has heard probably some of the rumors we've had. I don't think he meant second act someplace else. I think he just means he's entering his second act on the field. I don't know if he meant specifically with Cleveland. I just think he means I'm about to get back on the field. I don't think he had a thought in his head what that meant about location. I think he just thought it meant it was time to get back on the field.
Okay, so I actually have to agree. I took it the same way when I saw that. My thoughts didn't immediately go to the Giants, because obviously this is going to be his second act, sort of, you know. He's coming back from this injury. He's, you know, clearly excited about it. But Jackie, do you think that, I mean, I know that you weren't considering location when he did put this tweet out, but do you think that it is possible he'll end up somewhere else, or where do you think he will end up?
I mean, that's tough, because Odell, unfortunately, now he does have this, he's injury prone. He's a phenomenal talent. He can catch just about anything you throw his way. He made Eli look decent, because Eli is not. But he made Eli look really good, you know, so he's just this phenomenal talent. I still think he has, I don't want to say a lot of years of good football in front of him, but I do think he has several years of good football in front of him, provided he can stay healthy. Because this is his second time coming back from this injury, now I do think that some of his, outside of the physicalities and the hits that you can't control, some of him staying healthy is going to be predicated on his mindset, because far too often we do see guys start kind of overthinking things because of their injuries. They kind of start babying the side that the injury is on, which causes a problem on the other side. So it's not just, and this is, I always tell people it's like driving a car. You know, if you get in a horrible car accident, that totals your car and your whole life flashes in front of your eyes. When you get back in that car for the first time and get back on the road, it is unnerving. Your whole body is tense because you're just terrified that this could potentially happen again. Everybody looks at you. You look at everybody like they're a suspect to, ruin your car. It's a mind. You have to, and that takes time. That is nothing that you instantaneously can just get over. That takes time of being on the road. So just like that, this is going to take time of him being on the field, having some success, not feeling any pain. Eli was not good. Stop it. I see you, Logan. No. Eli was never good. Eli was always lucky. I appreciate you saying that, but no, he was not. But this is just going to take Odell some time to get over that. And best case scenario, he gets out on the field and he's immediately successful. If that's in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield, that's fantastic. I still want them to be kings of the North. I said when Odell was going over there, Cleveland is going to be kings of the North. That failed miserably. That was probably one of my worst predictions of all times thus far. I still want it to happen, but it's going to be about if Odell can be successful on the field. And that also means, are you going to believe in him? Because, Baker Mayfield, can't really see anybody but Jarvis Landry. So are you going to even see that Odell is open? There's a lot going on in that situation that I really just don't know if Odell should stay in Cleveland. I just want him to be successful. You know what I mean? I just want him to be very successful. I just don't know if that's in Cleveland. So I would tell him if your agent calls you and says, hey, you're being considered in trade talks, don't take it personal. Take it as the universe saying, okay, I got to get you out of here, because I'm not sold on Cleveland at all.
Yeah. Well, we do know that Tom Brady would like to join forces with him eventually in Tampa Bay. So maybe that's something that we could look forward to. That would be, I know we both are big fans of the potential, that potentially happening. But I want to dive into the miscommunication that happened from Odell's tweet. So obviously he put something out that probably felt very simple and benign to him. But of course it sets off NFL fans. Everybody thinks that he's hinting at a move or whatever it is. Do you feel that these kinds of tweets end up affecting the team itself? Because, maybe with Odell, they might have to have some sort of meeting with him, or they might have to kind of discuss the frenzy that happens after something like this gets published. So how do athletes' tweets end up impacting the organizations as a whole? Do you think there is any effect, or do you think that they just kind of brush that under the rug and don't even pay any attention to it?
I think it depends on what it is. This is not an impactful tweet. This is not let's sit down and have a conversation about this tweet. This is everybody else got it wrong. I'm talking about my second act coming from this injury. I don't need to explain this. This is not that tweet. Seeing some guys that all of a sudden seems to be giving this goodbye tweet, which we saw with Juju, which, we kind of know that's probably going to happen anyway. But if there was no writing on the wall that Juju was going to be out of Pittsburgh and then he did that tweet, okay, now we got to sit down and have a conversation. Do you want to leave? Are you saying that you don't want to be here? That's the kind of tweet that warrants a conversation. Or if you're bad mouthing your head coach and saying stuff like, I don't know, if Taysom Hill all of a sudden said, Tom Payton better give me the starting job as quarterback because that's what he promised me. Now we have to have a conversation, because now you put in inside business outside. And I think that there's a such thing as locker room talk. So everything that is tension-wise with the team, that should stay in the locker room. Sometimes that leaks out. There's nothing you can do about it. And I get that, because there's always reporters. Once the pandemic is over, there's going to be reporters lingering that may be in earshot. So you can't prevent all of that from leaking out. But it should never end up on social media. And if it does end up on social media, then we have to have a conversation about it. But this was not that conversation tweet. This was just I don't know why they thought that. They just thought that tweet. So yeah, he's okay with this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes. Let's get into the post-up, because some of y'all are just out here being shady, and normally I would get mad at y'all for this, but I personally appreciate the shade on this one, because y'all out here really clowning Paul George. And I just don't know. I'm on the fence with this, because sometimes I like Paul George, sometimes I don't. But if you don't know, the Clippers lost to the Dallas Mavericks last night, 89-105. Paul George did have 28 points, though, you guys. So he wasn't out there being trash. But Luka My baby goat was out there handling him all night. He had 42 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. And then somebody posted this to Twitter that said, Paul George has a message for his haters. I'm back with my trainer that I had in my MVP season. I'm locked in as you can be. I'm on MFers butts is basically what he said. And so that pretty much to me says, y'all better be scared because I'm back out here on my MVP status and y'all better be afraid of me. But it doesn't look like anybody is afraid of him. And so Twitter, of course, is clowning as well. Y'all memory is long and I love it. I love that y'all remember stuff this far back. But he said, didn't his MVP season end with a 5-point performance in Utah? Or did it end with Dame shooting the series winner in his eyes? Can't remember which terrible first round ending it was. The shade. And then another user says, remember when he said he was coming for dudes when he got new shoulders last year and then he had his worst season since the broken leg? Good times, Clipper fans. I love y'all. Y'all petty. Y'all petty as hell, but I love it. I love it.
Kevin Lang in the chat said PG checking that the flooring is installed correctly.
You guys, you're so petty. And I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I like Paul George most of the times I don't, because he got the whole stripper thing, whatever. But man, y'all didn't have to do my boy like that because that picture's gonna live forever. And one day, he's going to have a kid, and his kid's going to be playing basketball. His kid's going to be talking stuff, be like, you know who my dad is? And somebody's going to show that picture like, yeah, we know. It's the shade is just going to last forever. And I'm so here for it. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Speaking of my baby goat, because I feel like Luka might be out here trying to shoot his shot with this ref. That's just me. I could be wrong. Give it a little, little smile on her face. That's just what I'm going with. So y'all take a look. Y'all tell me what you think. Okay, what foul? What foul? Whatever he said, we could not see because his back was towards the camera. But then she was like, I'm telling you, Luka is shooting his shot with this ref. I don't care what anybody says. And somebody on Twitter agrees with me. And all I need is one person to agree with me, you guys. And then I feel validated. But one person on Twitter agrees with me. He said, what foul? Luka says, fouling in love with you.
Oh, my God.
It's hilarious to me. Okay, my sense of humor is weird, but I died when I saw that. I was like, I'm fouling in love with you. Okay, I'm weird. I'm weird like that.
If there is any athlete in the NBA who can get away with attempting to sweet talk a ref, it's Luka. He's got such a baby face. He seems like kind of nice, like a little bit dorky almost, so he could for sure get away with this.
Like, what you doing later? You fouling me home? Sorry, I'm done. I'll quit. That was too much. Let me go to this next one. I have so many corny jokes. You guys have no idea. But so you guys, I hate singing happy birthday because it's one of those songs that like you either have to be in unison with everybody or if your voice stands out a little bit. It's just, I hate singing happy birthday. But I will say this. LaMelo has to sing happy birthday to Terry Rozier because he's a rookie. And I think that is outstanding because we've heard so many stories of rookies having to pick up bar tabs that are like down payments on a house. If all you have to do is sing happy birthday, don't be embarrassed. Just go out there and sing happy birthday off key because it could be worse. But take a look at how he reacts to having to sing happy birthday.
Come on, Mel. Why you want me to start it? You going to start it. I started here the last one. Don't matter. No. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Can't even put 0 hands on, right? Happy birthday to you.
This is why I hate happy birthday.
Bro, sing happy birthday, bro.
Like
Day to you.
Well, he did it though, but this is why I hate happy birthday. If you're not gonna sound like you actually know what you're doing, don't sing. Just be like, "Happy birthday, girl! Give me a shot, and we all good." But I love this Twitter user's reaction because he took something that was just kind of funny and took it to a whole nother level. He said, "Grown ass men shouldn't be singing happy birthday." I agree with that based on this whole display that we saw. But one person said, "Yes, but it helps it build chemistry." Devin, I don't know. Do we need happy birthday to help build chemistry? Is that the song? Is that the go-to help build chemistry song?
Maybe if they're like 2-year-olds in preschool, but no, I don't think this is building any chemistry at all. It's a 30-second song. What's that going to do? If you want to build chemistry, send them to like a relay race or like some sort of sleepaway camp with no cell phones. That'll build chemistry, but not singing happy birthday. That's dumb.
Right. Do some trust falls, right? Don't just be out here singing happy birthday. Yeah, this is hilarious. But let's move on to this next one because I think you guys, well, if you guys are new here, which I know a lot of you are, but you might not know this. Our respect around here for Vanessa Bryant it grows every single day. Everything that she's handled, all the dignity she's handled it with, and her putting her foot down in situations where she needed to put her foot down. And just always representing for Kobe. Every time, if you follow her on Instagram, every time something happens, a birthday or some sort of accomplishment that her girls make, she always says, "Daddy and I are proud of you." And she's doing an amazing job of making sure that Kobe is represented in that family. And it's got to be heart-wrenching for her. So my respect for this woman is endless. And it just grew a little bit more because she actually called out the sheriff's department and all the police that were involved with sharing those photos of the helicopter crash when Kobe passed away. And I love her for this. There's a lot that I love about this. First and foremost, I don't know if you could see down there, but she says the County of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles County Fire Department, and then she names the officers, Joey Cruz, Rafael Meja, Michael Russell, and Raul Versales. And then she posted that and kind of dropped the mic. She doesn't allow any comments. So if you've got a problem with her airing these men out like this, she don't want to hear about it. I love her for this because I think this is time. This is what we need. You need to be held accountable. Y'all can't be out here doing this trash police work and you keep getting away with it. I love her for this. I am so proud of her for this because there's also another side of it. Her filing this lawsuit also means she has to kind of live in that headspace for a while. She has to relive that moment throughout the duration of this lawsuit. But for her, what's right is important, and she's going to put herself through that. This is just so admirable to me. Devin, what do you think about this? I know this is going to be a tough road for her, but I am so proud of her, and I admire her so much for doing this anyway.
Yeah, when I was looking into this, I saw that there was, again, a mixed bag of reactions. There were people who were so supportive and who love that Vanessa is the type of woman who's like, if you mess with my family, my husband, my children, I'm coming for you. And she really has this no-nonsense attitude about it, which I respect about her, because I think that this past year for her, she must have felt so vulnerable and so weak, but she has never let down that, given up on that strength. So she's the type of woman that's going to come for you if you come for anybody that she loves. And I think that's great. I think that to the people who are criticizing her for this decision, it's important for us to take a step back and imagine if this happened to us. If it was our loved ones whose bodies were being photographed for no legal purpose at all, would you really be out here wishing for the privacy of the people who committed such a heinous act? Or would you also want them to be known and to lose their jobs and to, feel exposed? Because what they did, and especially reading those documents and seeing how they in particular, one of them handled being at the crash site and then discussing it later, it was almost like he was boasting about it, I read. That's the kind of thing that's just like, are you really going to sit back and want to protect these people who had absolutely no respect or sensitivity for you or your family? I think that it's really easy to stand back and criticize and say, oh, but now their addresses are going to be out there or whatever. Imagine if it was you. Imagine if it was you. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. This is not a person that I would want if I was in a situation. Clearly, this act shows you lack compassion. So I just don't think if you lack compassion, this is a job that you should be doing. And since you did do it, now we're going to put you out here like this. So again, I am so proud of Vanessa Bryant. I can't say that enough. And that's just an understatement. I just don't have another word, but I'm so proud of her right now. But let's move on to this next one because y'all know how I feel about Shaq. I'm gonna save it to the end. But he's out here kind of trying to explain. We talk about this all the time. How can we get more eyes on the WNBA? I know we talked earlier that they do play more fundamentally sound basketball because they do run more plays. And those ladies are out there balling. I don't want to take anything away from that. But it's not the NBA. There is a lack of excitement. And I'm saying that as a person who is a female and who watches the WNBA. So I'm not mad at Shaq for trying to offer a solution, but this is a solution that we have talked about for years, and the ladies in the WNBA have said that they don't want it, and I know Shaq knows that, but he went out here and said it anyway, and Candace Parker's reaction to it is priceless. Take a look.
So dope. What's up?
10 years ago, the WNBA game was here. NBA game is here. Now it's here. I have a way to make it equal. Just listen to me now. You ready?
All right.
We've heard it.
Yeah, we've.
So in beach volleyball, the women's net is maybe half an inch lower. You think if we just lower the rim so y'all could dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have?
No.
I mean, because listen, y'all are doing the step backs, the pull back. Y'all doing everything we're doing, but I don't see a lot of people going up with two hands and, back.
Oh, it's coming. Opportunities are.
So you don't think if we just drop it to 9, 10
Nah,
and a half?
I guarantee.
Flash?
Layla, she's into dance, but my next child will be drop step dunking. I promise.
I'm still thinking about that move
Telling
that
you.
Coop used and stationary in and out to the pull up.
Okay, so I see you in the chat, JD. JD says, I want women to dunk more. They need to get better trainers to help them dunk, not lower the rim. But y'all write this down, you guys. It's going to be one of those rare occasions where I low-key, and I've said this for years, I low-key agree with Shaq because I did used to play volleyball, and the net is slightly lower. It's not even a lot. It's like maybe a half inch lower than it is when the men play volleyball. And I'm telling you, when I played volleyball, I could spike over that men's net, but it was harder for me. It was still hard on the women's net, but it was doable. And that's the only thing that I want to say. I've seen Brittany dunk. You're not seeing a LeBron dunk where he's like in the middle of the air, floating through the air and just dunking over somebody two-handed. You're not seeing that in the WNBA. We've never really seen a dunk like that. The dunks we've seen is just kind of, she got up there long enough to dunk it and then move on. It's not this spectacle. It's not this, ooh, moment. None of that exists in the WNBA. And like it or not, we love that. Because we tweet about it all the time when men do it. It's like, oh my God, did you see? We love that. And basketball fans aren't going to change what they love just for the WNBA. So I'm just going to say in this moment in time, I agree with Shaq. This one user did not. And I actually love this lady because when I tell you, she was arguing with every single person on this thread that agreed with Shaq. And this one, she said, first, dunking isn't a requirement to win basketball. No extra points for dunking. Second, dunking is about demonstrating individual dominance over others. Third, the best women's team wins with teamwork, not individuals. That's why WNBA don't dunk, not because they can't. There's a lot to unpack there. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go to her next tweet because girl was about that life. She was coming for every single body on this tweet. But she says dunks are more exciting to men. I disagree. I love dunks, but whatever. She says dunks are more exciting to men. Something about how one person dominates the other with physical power. In the women's game, it's more about cooperation and has a solid commitment to the common goal of winning. Just watch the Storm, the Sun, the Lynx. During dunking would ruin their rhythm. I highly disagree. And so does this next user who basically remembers the same dunk that Brittany's the only person I've ever seen dunk. And he remembers her as well. He says, this isn't true. Fans and WNBA players, go look it up, y'all. This is true. Fans and WNBA players went nuts when Grindr dunked in a game for the first time. Both teams celebrated like they won the game. That is a factual statement. So this is a rare time, but I agree with Shaq on this one. So Devin, I'm gonna go to you. What do you think about this?
So when I first heard Shaq make these comments, well, here's the thing. When Shaq comes up on my screen, my eyes are already prepared to start rolling. So it's just like an initial reaction that, I can't really control. And also I have to admit, when I heard that, I was like, oh, come on, Shaq. But then when you do think about it, women are naturally physically smaller than men, and we do better with upper arm strength as opposed to lower leg strength. So there is biological differences between men and women that could justify lowering the rim. I'm not going to, say lower the rim and have that be the hill that I die on. But if it happened, I don't think it would be necessary to be mad about it. I would understand why that decision would have been made.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I disagree with Candace on this one, but I understand the logic, the logic of no, just because I'm a woman, I don't want you to make things easier for me. I can do what men can do, but that's just not biologically correct. And I hate to put that out there, but it is. But I'm going to get to these next ones pretty quickly because I do want to get into this update for Deshaun. So really quickly, I just want to show you guys Zaire, because Zaire doesn't seem to understand that his last name is Wade. Somebody need to tell him. Take a look at this video.
Right now, high school, you get all the media. College, there's no camera. There's barely no camera. Dude, if I don't go to a good school, I'm gonna be forgotten about. Bro, y'all don't get how this works. I'm gonna have to teach y'all, man. You popping right now, high school, you get all the media. College, there's no camera. There's barely no cameras in college. So all that's gonna be gone.
You get buckets at any D1 college, you're not gonna be forgotten about. John Morant went to Murray State. He was the #2 pick in the draft.
Talk to him, right, man. Talk to him louder.
Dame Lillard went to Weaver State. Where is that? I don't even know where that is.
That's Dame Lillard.
Here's he wins. Here's he wins.
I appreciate the humility, I do, but I don't understand where his head is at, because Dame Lillard will tell you himself, nobody was checking for him in middle school, nobody was checking for him in high school, and like my guy just said, where is that college even at? Like, we don't even know. And Dame Lillard doesn't have a dad that is still an asset to the NBA. We still talk about him. We still show the highlights between him and LeBron. I don't understand your thought process that you think with the last name Wade that the cameras are not going to follow you wherever you go. I don't understand. Devin, can you help make this make sense for me? I don't understand his thought process.
I don't understand his thought process either. The one thing that I can say is that Zaire has reiterated multiple times that he doesn't want to achieve anything simply because of his dad and because of his last name. He wants to find success based on his own merit. So maybe he has that mentality because he has spent so much time trying to prove himself worthy of the attention that he already has. But I don't know. I mean, nobody's going to forget about him. Like, it's just not even possible. So maybe he was just trying to be humble and modest, but it's not going to happen. He has nothing to worry about.
I know he wants to try to achieve on his own merit. Tough guy. Your last name is Wade. And I saw somebody in the chat was like, he's not wrong because Michael Jordan's sons were known as a bust. Adam Hecker said that. But Jordan's one son was garbage. Zaire is not. He's not a bad player. And Michael Jordan's sons didn't come up in the age of social media when everything we do, our whole entire lives, are just out there for everyone to see. Zaire, you're going to be fine, my guy. And even if you do end up being trash in college, everybody's still going to see it because now they got to be like, oh my God, Dwayne Wade's son isn't even that good. The cameras are going to follow you wherever you go. You just need to accept that and milk it. If your last name is Wade, I say milk it. That's me. Y'all can think what you want to think, but I say milk it for all it's worth because my last name isn't Wade. But if it was, even if I wasn't related to Dwayne Wade, I would tell everybody, Dwayne Wade is my cousin twice removed. I'd lie. I would. I'm not even gonna lie. So here we go. Let's move into this next one, because when I first saw this, I sent this to my producer, and she was like, "I just saw this." And the fact that people are spot on with this, Ben Simmons looks like the Mona Lisa. You put a beard on the Mona Lisa, and it's Ben Simmons. And I can't unsee this now. I can't unsee this. I feel like we need to put Ben Simmons in a museum somewhere because I can't unsee this.
You know what's weird? It looks like Ben Simmons, but I could also see it looking like Kyle Kuzma. Am I the only one that can see that?
I could see that as well. can see that as
Looks
well
a
because
little
Kyle
like-
Kuzma. It does. Okay, you're right, Devin. I can see both. Okay, well, both of them. We'll just put both of them in the museum. So let's get to this next one because Bears fans are upset about this, and I'm going to show you one fan that took it to a little dark place. But so y'all know Wheel of Fortune. Y'all got to guess the letter. So take a look at this tweet really quick. So on the top, I instantly knew what it meant, but the guy on the top says, "I like to solve the puzzle, Russell Wilson." And then I was like, well, no, because he just does Russ Wilson. I'm like, no, there's no EL, but he just did Russ Wilson. We ain't never called Russell Russ. We've never done that, but whatever. On the bottom, it's actually Andy Dalton. And this one fan just took it to a comical and then twisted it to a dark place because he reminded us how you play Wheel of Fortune. And if it was right, the N in Andy would have already been revealed because it was revealed in the bottom. And then he goes, oh, I missed my wife. Okay, now we got to investigate and find out what happened. And you just took us out of the humor. And okay, we're praying for you, my guy. We're just going to move to this next one because I didn't need to see all that. But so we know a lot of people, especially our elderly people, have been in isolation because they've been more at risk. But this grandma has been spending her isolation specifically kind of naming her favorite NBA players. So let me show you this tweet because I think this is great. She says, "Till my 94-year-old grandma spent her year in isolation studying the NBA and filling a notepad with her favorite players on each team." I got to show you this one thing because it is time to get grandma out and about because clearly her vision is lost because I saw that and I was like, what name is this? Danny Green is her first name on that list. No, ma'am. We're going to get grandma out the house. We're getting grandma out the house. Not acceptable. We're not doing this. Let me get into this last one really quick because I really want you guys to watch The Last Girl. First of all, shout out to all these girls. All of them are running 19 miles per hour, which is dope because we all thought Odell was fast. These girls are younger than Odell, all of them running 19 miles an hour. But I need you to check out my girl, Daphne. She's the last girl. Everybody is kind of laboring at this 19 miles an hour. Daphne is doing it with ease. Check it out. Daphne looked like she just ran into the store real quick. She didn't look like she was winded at all. That girl fast. I just want y'all to know right now, Daphne's fast. That is not her full speed. She got a lot more left in the tank. But are you guys ready? Because now it's time to get into this update. And let's get into what we're not going to do. Because as promised, we're doing this Deshaun Watson update. And I just want to break this down step by step for you. So if you didn't see, Devin did do an update on the backstory of that first case, the first sexual assault case. So make sure you go back and check that out. But I'm just going to give you the synopsis of it now. So Harris County District Clerk on their website yesterday morning, they had the case. The woman's not named. Her name is John Doe in the case, but it says it alleges inappropriate conduct. You can leave that up, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute because that is ridiculous. It alleges inappropriate conduct in a massage therapist's home. This is in March of 2020. So this is the second one. There was another one that occurred August 28th of 2020. So the lawsuits were filed again by Tony Busby. Both of these women allege that Deshaun Watson committed a civil assault when touching a massage therapist when his genitalia, and that he either intentionally or knowingly caused physical contact with the plaintiff when he knew or should have reasonably known that the plaintiff would regard such contact as offensive. So the first lawsuit says that Deshaun Watson booked a massage on March 30th, 2020, with a massage therapist who regularly does massages in her home. So after leaving the room for whatever reason, when the massage therapist returned, she says that she found Deshaun Watson lying on the table with just a small towel over his private area. It says that she began to feel really uncomfortable, and it became apparent to her that Deshaun Watson was exposing himself because he wanted sex. So this is where I have to take a pause for a second, because she does say that this went on for about 25 minutes of her feeling uncomfortable in her own home before she finally asked him to leave. So On what planet do you think you can make me feel uncomfortable in my house for 25 minutes? 25 minutes. If I come in there and you are positioned in a way that I find offensive, I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. And then after that, you have to leave. On top of that, if you are doing massages in your home with men, you're in a position of danger. That's just, I don't care what anybody says. If you're inviting men that you may or may not know into your home, I'm going to have to assume that this is your first session with Deshaun Watson because you didn't expect him to behave that way, if in fact he did behave that way. I personally don't believe he did, but if he did, then you were surprised by that because you don't know him well enough to know that that might be the thing. There is no America that I know where a woman should be inviting strangers into her home and not have any form of security. You don't have anyone else in the home. You don't have any security cameras to protect you in case something happens, so you have evidence. You don't have anything but your word that for 25 minutes, you were being sexually harassed by a man before you asked him to leave. If that makes sense to you, okay, maybe it's just me. But I'm not letting anybody in my house be here by myself if I don't have something to protect myself and to immediately ask them to leave if they start behaving out of pocket. So, and we've seen this. I don't know if you guys, maybe you guys haven't, because I follow so many hairstylists. Especially during the pandemic, a lot of them were inviting people into their homes. And I have seen so many videos of them telling people they have to leave because they behave inappropriately. We see Uber drivers with cameras. Are you trying to tell me this one? Stop it. I don't believe it at all. Second, with Tony. Tony is the attorney for these women that are filing this lawsuit. And the way he is handling it is automatically going to bring the validity of these cases under scrutiny with his social media posts, because he also says that he texted her an apology. You've been all over social media trying to badmouth Deshaun Watson, but never once produced the text message. And I need to see the full context of the text message. I need to know if she texted him and said, hey, you made me feel uncomfortable. Because if he did make her feel uncomfortable, I just don't feel like she said it in the house. Because, girl, 25 minutes of saying stop it. No. But she might have texted him afterwards and said, hey, what you did made me really feel uncomfortable. Maybe he texts back, oh, sorry about that. That wasn't my intention. If that is the case, that's still not sexual harassment to me because you didn't say anything to him at the time that you were in the house. So for me, I need video with audio and the text message before I believe anything this woman says, and that's just me. Now, the second lawsuit, I'm not believing it at all because the second lawsuit says that Deshaun Watson booked a massage with a masseuse on Instagram. Like, there's no massage therapist in Houston, but he booked this woman on Instagram and flew her to Houston from Atlanta. That's where I tap out. I don't really care anything that you say after this, because on what planet do you think he's flying you out to? Y'all already know. Now, I'm not flying you anywhere if I'm just expecting a massage that I can get down the street. Stop it. So again, everything that comes after that, I am not really trying to buy. But she says that when she arrived in the hotel room where the room where it was scheduled to take place, he was on the table butt naked and he refused to cover himself. And then she stayed. So again, if you walk into a hotel room where a man is butt naked and you don't want to be there, now not only can you leave, you can leave, and you got hotel staff that you can say, hey, this is, I feel uncomfortable. You can have, because my first thought would be, I need somebody to validate my story. So I'm going to tell everybody as I'm walking out, this man in here is crazy. But why do you stay? If you felt uncomfortable instantly when you walked in, why didn't you instantly walk out? It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me at all, because I believe you have to assume a certain level of responsibility. That's one of the first things my dad taught me. Your safety is your responsibility. So if you walking down the street in your phone with your headphones on and you walk in front of a car and you get hit, we gonna feel bad for you, but it's your fault because you didn't put yourself in the best position to remain safe. You have to assume a certain level of responsibility. And if you did not feel safe, you should have left. If you did not feel safe, you should have kicked him out. None of those happened. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. So let's go ahead and look at this attorney's long, convoluted post on his Instagram. He posted this yesterday. He says, my associate Carolina and I will file the second of what is now 4 cases on behalf of women against Deshaun Watson today. The cases allege assault, which if you look up the definition of assault, nothing I just described really constitutes that, but let's move on. He says, we won't share the alleged details here, and we won't try the case in the press. Then why are you posting? Anyway, but the cases are publicly filed for all to see. I appreciate the calls of support that we have received from those who support these brave women. It takes a lot of guts to stand up to the powerful when you are perceived as powerless. Since filing the first case yesterday, I've had several death threats and multiple people have harassed my children. The blame the victim or lawyer's mentality is alive and well. I love football as much as the next person, although I've never been a Texan fan. Lying, you just posted that whole thing about you wanted Johnny Manziel. If you don't stop with the lies, my guy. But I don't love it that much. Makes me shake my head that people are so passionate about football to the point of irrationality, while at the same time they could care less who the mayor or president will be. I love how he said who the mayor will be, because are you throwing a jab at people because they didn't vote for you for mayor? Because let's not forget you actually ran for mayor, sir. So I'm not buying this at all, because if he really felt like people coming for him in social media, then he shouldn't have put this out in social media. I definitely love what Deshaun Watson's attorney is saying. Deshaun Watson's attorney is Rusty Hardin, and just how he's presenting it is just how an attorney should behave. He said he first learned of Deshaun Watson's lawsuit on Tuesday, and he spoke with him on Wednesday, and he agreed to represent him. And he said, quote, I'm real comfortable with the kind of person that Deshaun Watson is, and I don't like to publicly comment until I get all the facts. Deshaun Watson has a great reputation here in Houston and the surrounding area, and that the allegations are really inconsistent with the kind of person that he is. And I 100% agree with that. Nothing that we know about Deshaun Watson says that this is who he is as a person. I personally don't believe it. But I'll tell you this, I wouldn't stay in a hotel that had 2.5 stars, but Tony Bugsby's law firm has 2.5 stars. So let me just show you this right now. He has 2.5 stars. This is the Busby law firm, 2.5. And so what could he possibly be doing wrong? Well, a lot. Let me show you some of the comments that people have made about him. Absolutely would not recommend this law firm. It's been almost 3 years and my case is still not settled. The majority of times I've called, I would not get a response. And if I emailed, normally it takes days to get an update. The lack of compassion for those in horrible situations. I've dealt recently with a different law firm about the same thing and they got better treatment. Okay, so that's the one. So obviously, I would bet, based on some of the other reviews that I read, that this probably wasn't a case that was going to get them a lot of money, because they seem to fall back if they're not getting a lot of money on cases. That's just from the reviews that I read. And this says one of his company staff signed me up via a work email without my knowledge or consent. That's horrible. And this next one says no response. I guess I was the wrong color. Rick Perry wasn't. So I told you about him yesterday. That seems to echo some of the sentiments that I've seen on his Instagram page. So let me get to another one, because there's another one in here. This one says they paid me $20 when I needed money for my kids, and they were very, very sick. Another one says I spoke to Busby and he refused to serve me, and he said he was a Marine and wanted to protect the country against my type of people. Very unprofessional from a licensed lawyer. And then the next one says that he's just a POS. But I think this next one is the one that I really was like, okay, this makes sense to me, because this makes sense to the type of person that he seems to be on his Instagram. And he says, absolute joke of a lawyer. The man, Mr. Busby himself, stated to me that I'm rich. I don't need your business. Nothing like staying humble. You want to be cowboy. I highly suggest you think twice about using this guy. 100% the type to take your money and do nothing for you. If I could give a 0 star, I would. Your character speaks for you, while Deshaun Watson's character speaks for him. And this is just surface stuff, you guys. I didn't even try to really get deep into my investigation. I'm just looking at what's on the surface. And what's on the surface is that Tony Busby feels some type of way about Deshaun Watson, probably because of his friendship with the McNair family. That nothing has changed from what I felt yesterday. I still 100% in my heart believe that this is a setup, and I do not believe that this is going to end favorably for these women who were victimized. I need to see proof. If they were victimized, of course, I will change my tune, but I'm not buying it. You don't hop on a plane to go give them a... Stop it. I don't believe any of it. Devin, do these updates make you change your tune? Do you think that maybe there's some validity to what these women are saying, or do you still kind of follow where I'm at and this is 100% a setup?
Well, I think that I always sat a little bit more in the middle than you do. I do feel that Deshaun Watson is being unfairly framed in this situation, but I also don't think that these women have no validity at all. I, like you, would like to see a little bit more proof, a little bit more evidence. You brought up some really great points, and I think what is especially alarming to me about all of this is the fact that this Tony Busby guy seems to be just a really kind of scummy lawyer long before any of this went down. So it's hard to imagine that he's actually on some crusade for justice for these women. It seems like it's more of a grab for attention and publicity and an attempt to tear down Deshaun Watson's character and reputation. So I'm still leaning towards Deshaun here, but with just a little bit of like hesitation. You know what I mean? Like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but if anything else comes out, you know me, I want to stand by women, and if I need to, that's what I'll do.
Yeah. Somebody said, what did Jeremiah say? Jeremiah said, I would hate Jackie to be my mom. She gonna find everything out and gonna beat you. That's probably true. Because I'm gonna look. You're not getting nothing past me. Now, I'm not going to say if it comes out that these women actually experience this, they're still, in my mind, just from what I've read about this lawsuit, they still bear a level of responsibility. And I just don't, like I said, your safety is your responsibility. When you cross that street, it's your responsibility to look both ways. If you don't, you get hit by a car. Of course, we're going to feel bad for you, but you didn't look both ways. If you allowed yourself to be in this situation for 25 minutes, if you walked into that hotel room after seeing something that made you uncomfortable, I have to hold you accountable to some level, because you had an opportunity to kick somebody out of your house and you had an opportunity to walk out of a hotel. And neither of those things happened. So I just can't give these women an immediate pass. We will see how things develop. Obviously, I'm obsessed with this, so we will continue to keep an eye on this. But right now, what we're not going to do, Mr. Busby, is pretend like I'm not watching you, because I am. So that's all I got for what we're not going to do.
Mr. Busby, you better watch out, because yes, Jackie is really digging deep doing her research. So anything that you've done in the past, she's going to find out. And I kind of love that we can be here on the Fumble and you can just drag him endlessly, because that's what we need to see happen. All right, you guys, let's wrap up the show here. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will have Fan or Foe at the end of the show, so make sure you tune in for that. Maybe we'll be answering your comments and questions. Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. You guys were great today. See you later. Have a great day.